I'm Hilary Heidi, a producer at BioWare. Let's take a look at game progression in Dragon Age the Veilguard. In this video,
Okay.
we'll cover skill progression, item progression, and companion progression. My goal is to build a rogue assassin.
Ooh, what are those? Are those darkspawn? No, they have horns. Are they Kunari?
Goal is to build a rogue assassin who
That's
darts
weird.
around my enemies and strikes them down with poison blades.
This
In
is
order
rogue,
to craft
okay.
this build, I'll need to invest in the right skills, find and upgrade gear, and ensure my companions complement my strategy. Let's start by looking at skill progression. As you complete missions, find codex entries, explore the world, and kill enemies,
Yeah, I think those are Kunari.
you'll level up your class. Each new level grants more health and unlocks skill points. The Constellation skill tree is where you spend points to unlock new skills. Each class has a unique skill tree and can specialize in a specific form of combat. Specializations unlock at level 20. Rogues can specialize as saboteurs, Veil Rangers, or duelists. I'm going to build toward the duelist specialization, which emphasizes agility and poisoning enemies with necrotic damage. There are 4 types of skills: traits, passives, abilities, and ultimates. Traits are activated by button
Ultimates.
combos.
So there's
The
more than
Riposte
one
trait
ultimate.
launches a powerful counterattack after a successful parry or defend. Passives are skills that are always active. The Death's Blessing passive gives you plus 10% necrotic damage. Abilities are actions you trigger during combat. With the Toxic Dash ability, you dash toward your target to land a deadly blow, dealing necrotic damage. This also applies the Sundered status, but we'll talk more about statuses when we get to companions. And finally, ultimates are high-impact, large attacks that take longer to charge up, but create devastating amounts of damage. Within the duelist specialization, I have access to a unique ultimate ability called a Murder of Crows. I'll unlock this ability and then switch over to my character screen to equip my new ultimate.
Okay, you can have
You can
multiple
swap out your abilities
ultimates.
and ultimates
You
anytime
can
you're
swap
not in
then
combat.
whenever you want.
You can also enhance your abilities with enchantments.
Who is that
But we'll get
guy?
to that in part 2. By leveling up, unlocking new skills, and choosing a specialization, you can start to design your ideal playstyle. But this is only the beginning. In part 2, we'll talk about item progression.
Boom, boom. Nice! Those look so good.
Your character, Rook, can equip up to 9 items. Each class has their own main hand, offhand, and alternate weapon. For example, my rogue has a sword, a rapier, and a bow for ranged attacks. You also have a helmet, armor, a belt, an amulet, and 2 rings. You can acquire items in 2 ways. The first is by visiting vendors and faction stores. The higher you raise your reputation with each faction, the more items become available for purchase. The second way to acquire items is simply by finding them in the world. For example, while exploring the Necropolis halls, I discover a new main hand weapon, the enchanted
Fate
Longblade.
touched.
Every item has stats and properties, as well as a rarity.
Why are they
Ranging from
locked?
uncommon to rare, to epic, to legendary. This uncommon item has high physical damage and stagger stats, along with a property that deals plus 20% final attack damage, making the final blow and attack chains more powerful. Perfect for my melee-focused assassin.
Ooh, what kind of... Is that a darkspawn?
But what if I want to make it even better? At the heart of item progression is the Caretaker's Workshop. The Caretaker is a mysterious entity that has set up shop in your home base, the Lighthouse.
I go where I am needed, Dweller. Now, I am here.
The
Here you can
caretaker's
upgrade
workshop.
item stats and enchant your items. The workshop has its own rank, 0 to 10. You can increase this rank by finding caretaker mementos out in the world, or buying them at shops. The higher the rank, the better your upgrades. When you upgrade an item, you'll spend the
That's
required
nice.
resources, and that item will get a stat increase. At the same time, its level will increase by 1 until it matches your current caretaker's workshop rank. A higher rank unlocks new enchantments. These can be applied to an item or ability, imbuing it with a unique property. For example, I can enchant
I thought Sandal will come back. Sadly, no.
my main hand weapon with plus 25% more stagger to quickly set up enemy takedowns. I'll also add an enchantment to one of my abilities, Toxic Dash, to increase its crit damage by 25%. Your companion's items can be upgraded and enchanted as well. More on that in part 3. But the workshop rank affects more than just the items you bring to the shop.
Wait a minute.
Anytime you
Who are
find
these
or
guys?
buy a new item in the world, its level will
Oh,
match
okay,
the
it's
current
in the
rank.
world, not in the
So if your current rank
lighthouse.
is 1, new items you find will be at level 1.
Iron cast.
But if your current rank is 5, new items will be at level 5. And if you find or purchase a duplicate of an item you already own, 2 things happen.
Prepare yourselves.
First, the level of your existing item will jump up to match the caretaker's workshop rank, increasing its stats. The item will also be empowered, unlocking a property and increasing its rarity. Buying a duplicate of my offhand weapon, the Duelist Blade, bumps up the blade's stats, unlocks a property that applies necrosis to enemies
Oh,
that hit
okay,
with
that's
host,
great.
and changes its rarity from uncommon to rare.
This is actually great because before, if you get a duplicate item, you just sell it. Now it's useful for upgrades.
So it's a good idea to keep leveling up your caretaker's workshop, because the higher its rank, the better your items will be, whether you're upgrading them at the workshop or finding them out in the world. Another item type you can find or buy are runes. Each rune provides a passive bonus to your build, as well as
I have one gripe with this though. Because in Inquisition, the crafting there is very good. You can create your own weapons and armors. You can design how they look. You can even recolor it. But here, if you're upgrading the item by the same item, I'm not sure how good will be the crafting system will be here. Because there's a lot of freedom there. You can choose your materials, you can choose your color, you can choose like which properties your weapons and armors can have. But here, I'm not sure if I like this more than the crafting system before, but we'll see when we play the game.
an active bonus you can trigger. Up to 3 runes can be slotted into Rook's Lyrium Dagger. I'll slot in this Scorch rune, which allows my otherwise necrotic focus build to deal out fire damage. But skills, items, and upgrades aren't the only elements of creating your build, because in the Veilguard, you're not fighting alone. In part 3, we'll talk about companion progression.
Ooh. Boom. That's a nice combo.
Each companion has their
Bellara.
own skill tree and unique items. They can be equipped with a main hand weapon, an offhand weapon or keepsake, armor, and a trinket. Some gear, such as this Corvid cloak on Lucanus, can enhance my character's build. In this case, applying bleeding or necrotic damage whenever I detonate an overwhelmed target. And at the Caretaker's Workshop, I can upgrade and enchant companion items just like Rook's gear. Let's upgrade Lucanus' Corvid cloak to level 5, greatly increasing its bonus ability damage, and enchant it with +1 maximum stack of necrosis. Companions also have their own skill trees, so as they level up, you can spend points to unlock skills that complement your own. Some abilities can serve as primers, applying status effects to enemies such as sundered, overwhelmed, or weakened. Other abilities are detonators, combining with primers to create powerful detonations on status-afflicted targets. You can swap out companion abilities anytime you're not in combat, just like Rook. In some cases, you'll want to spec companions with abilities that can fill in for weak spots in your build. For example, if I know I'm going to face a horde of Darkspawn, which are resistant to my Rook's necrotic damage but weak against fire, I'll want to bring along a companion like Davrin, who has powerful fire abilities. I'll also bring Nev, who can detonate targets that I've primed. First, I'll use Davrin's Asan's Strike ability to inflict fire damage and knock down his Darkspawn. Next, I'll rush in with Toxic Dash to prime a target with the Sundered status. And finally, I'll use Nev's Icebreaker ability on the Sundered enemy to detonate it.
Ooh. Nice, that's a large
such
damage.
As this battle against the undead, I want to max out my necrotic.
These kinds of zoom in, fighting some kind of, I'm not sure if this is a boss or a mini boss, feels like very I don't know, it's not mobile. There's a kind of, I don't know what's the word. It feels like generic. I'm not sure what's the word though.
Damage potential. I can accomplish that by bringing along Lucanus, a fellow rogue whose gear and abilities increase the amount of necrotic damage I can deal out. Our progression systems allow you to finely tune your skills, gear, and companions to create the perfect build.
Got us in the distance.
What the heck? That was nice. I think the combat for the rogue is better than the than the mage one, the one we watched yesterday. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. That's the what do you call this? The deep dive for the gameplay, for the progression deep dive, parts 1 to 3. So I believe as time comes up and the release date comes near, we'll be having more updates with these. I'm a bit conflicted because usually they drop some big spoilers like what happened yesterday and the trailer before that. They were big spoilers actually, so but what can I do? I can't stop myself. Anyway, see you later guys. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye bye.